Hello and welcome to Washington Central Podcast. I am Saurabh Shukla. Today, we will begin with what I would describe as chaotic scenes with thousands of illegal immigrants flooding the Spanish autonomous city of Ceuta. That's on the edge of, I would say, North African coast, along the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic. And this is a city of almost 83,000 people, bordering Morocco, and a lot of them were Moroccan, I would say, nationals who some of them even swam for as long as 14 kilometers. They came in boats and breached the city. The scenes, I've not seen them. These were unprecedented, and the city was run over. The situation on the ground is grim, and obviously, the European countries reacted sharply. There was reaction from within Spain and also here in the US as well. This triggered the fresh round of debate around illegal immigration and how the world can control that. The trigger was a lot of the immigration cartels used it by misrepresenting a Spanish Supreme Court ruling, which had said about amnesty to some of the illegal immigrants who came by sea. But obviously, they misrepresented it. And as a result, there was a flood of immigrants coming in. Clearly, there was initially complicity and reports and videos that came out of the Moroccan border guards also opening the gates and allowing these illegal immigrants to get into Ceuta. There were also scenes where some of these immigrants were trying to get into houses and search for home and shelter. And many of them since then have returned because they are also saying that this is not what they thought about or which they were portrayed, because a lot of them paid their hard-earned savings as well to some of these traffickers. And that's the reason I believe that one of the fundamental things which the world has to unite against is this traffickers, who are not only promoting illegal immigration, but are also causing a human crisis. Whether they are traffickers who were trying to, I would say, encourage illegal immigration into the US, which has been curbed to a great extent under the Trump administration, and virtually there are zero illegal immigrants coming in through the border crossing in Mexico and also but in Europe, that continues to be a problem. And certainly this is creating problem, I would say, for genuine immigrants, the legal immigrants, because they are increasingly finding it difficult to get visas. Whether you are a professional immigrant, a student, that is becoming a problem. So I would say every country in the world, and even at the level of the UN, where the UN General Assembly meets in September, there is a need for a concerted effect to curb illegal immigration, and countries like the US can take a leading role, and the European Union should join in, because this not only poses a humanitarian problem for the countries which are getting flooded by illegal immigrants, but also creates a big humanitarian problem for those illegal immigrants who are being encouraged, because certainly the conditions are not as good, and it only puts pressure and creates friction between the locals and these illegal immigrants, and creates a law and order and a security problem as well. For Europeans, it's a genuine concern, because obviously Eurozone means, even though Ceuta is far away from the Spanish mainland, but if some of these illegal immigrants manage to get into the Spanish mainland, they can slip into any countries within Europe, and that creates a further problem. So I feel that there has to be a greater focus that is required on this entire problem of illegal immigration, and every country has to be invested. Even in countries like India, which where there are certain states from which illegal immigrants were going to countries in Europe and also to America, they need to coordinate with law enforcement agencies globally. And we at the media also have a responsibility to spread the message that don't get into or buy in the arguments being given by these cartels who are selling you dreams. But in reality, things are very, very different. And clearly, as we saw in Ceuta, things turned out to be very chaotic. And these were really disturbing visuals that were coming in. Just to give you a background, Ceuta is a small municipality, has most of them are around 83,000 people live there. Most of them are either Spanish Christians or Arabic Muslims. There is also a small section of Sindhi Hindus who actually migrated from Pakistan. So they are there as well. But clearly, and Morocco, obviously, politically, it's a political hotspot as well, where Morocco believes that it's away from the Spanish mainland and they have a control over this city as well. So there is a political dimension as well, which contributed to what happened. And since then, the Moroccan authorities, while they have promised to cooperate with the Spanish authorities as well, but things on the ground still are grim. Moving on now, let's move to the US to another big issue, that of a new levy being proposed by the Trump administration, which will make it difficult for students in the US to stay on for OPT, because after 100,000 USD fee on H-1B, which was levied by the Trump administration and which was later then struck down by courts, they plan to levy 100,000 USD fee on OPT. What is OPT? So after a 4-year undergraduate program in the US from a US universities, most students get attracted to this because they get to stay and work here in the US. And why this helps is because it helps the companies in scouting for great talent during that period, because they can then hire them through their OPT period. And then if some of them they feel are really promising or they stand out, then they usually get jobs and the companies then sponsor them for a H-1B visa. With $100,000 levy, if that comes into play, a lot of these students will lose out on the opportunities. And obviously, this will be opportunity lost for the US as well, because some of the best and brightest students who came and created companies in the US, who joined big US tech companies, which contributed to the US economy, also were part of the OPT process. So clearly, this again puts the US universities at a disadvantage. It also puts these international students, the thousands of them who spend, I would say, hundreds of thousands of dollars of and contribute to the US economy, to the US universities. They will rethink about their options, whether the US universities are the choice for most of them, because this only creates challenges for a legal pathway for them. And I would strongly suggest that there should be a rethink of this. And I hope people within the Trump administration will think about how they can rationalize this, because genuine students should not be impacted. Yes, I'm always a votary that you have to take strict action against any illegal immigration, but genuine legal immigrants who contribute to the US economy, who make sure that the US continues to have an edge, whether in the age of AI or in the age of any profession which is there globally, because a lot of best and brightest come out every year of the US universities, and they should not be disadvantaged. And that's the reason why any immigration policy has to be rationalized. And that is, I think, there are some people who reason it out. And President Trump in the past himself has said that he really values legal immigrants. So clearly, I think there may be some kind of a rethink. But for now, this should be of concern to any student who's looking to join US colleges. You have to bear in mind and factor this in, that this levy may be coming on OPT, which happens after these students, finish their 4 years, and clearly coming on the close succession of the 4-year programs, whether for F1 students and J1 being curbed to 4 years only and no duration of status, this becomes very restrictive and also creates a challenge for, I would say, uh, students, international students who are coming to study here in the US universities. Moving focus now to the war on Iran. Certainly, the war continues in some ways because the Middle East continues to be a trouble spot. Ships in the Strait of Hormuz continues to get targeted, even though the US and Iran are in some ways back channel talks are still continuing, even though they are not saying it publicly. But my sources are telling me that some parlays happen, but the situation is grim. And certainly, countries in Asia have to rethink of a plan. You know that the stock markets globally are getting impacted, and the war on Iran has contributed a great deal. And I don't see in the immediate future there is really a ray of hope in sight, because this war continues and the aftershocks will continue to impact the global economy. It will continue to impact I beg your pardon, tourism, and also will have a ripple effect on countries in Asia, especially countries like India, who are now again preparing to brace for a further round of shocks, because obviously oil prices are one, but fertilizer prices get impacted because anything which passes through the Strait of Hormuz gets impacted, and that's is a cause of concern. Stay connected to Washington Central. Do follow us on whatever platform that you hear us on, watch us on, and do share Washington Central, because your sharing has made it a popular podcast in our genre. And thanks for watching and connecting with Washington Central.